Evening, Reds. How are we? Hopefully, all of you is doing well. Welcome back to the Cup Council. Hopefully, everyone's having a fantastic Friday, wherever you are around the world. I did nearly forget the day then, but yes, we are here to discuss who will be the next Liverpool manager. It is a week on since Jurgen Klopp made the shock announcement that he will be leaving the club at the end of the season. I think obviously all of us were shocked. Obviously, we did our own video speaking about it, and I think even a week on, it still hasn't sunk in really. But we are here tonight to discuss who could be the next Liverpool manager. We have five names on the list that could potentially be the next Liverpool manager. Of course, if you guys have any other shouts as well in the comment section down below, then please do feel free to let us know in the comments down below. But as you can see, I am joined by two very special guests, starting with Ricky from the 1892 Reds TV. Rick, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Not too bad. Busy week. And yeah, we've got another game at the weekend coming around thick and fast. Obviously, beat Chelsea on Wednesday night. But yeah, not too bad. Thanks for having me on.
Absolute pleasure. And of course, you can see we are also joined by Doug from the Dugout Football Channel. Doug, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, good, mate. Thank you very much for having me. And it feels like an age since I was last on here. But obviously, circumstances have obviously changed that. Obviously, I'm now a father, which is one of the best jobs in the world. I'm blessed to be a father, but I'm blessed to be back on here. So thank you very much for having me.
Absolute pleasure, mate. And of course, guys, again, if you're new around here, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, go over to the Dugout Football Channel. Obviously, go over to the 1892 Reds TV as well, because I think, Rick, is it 40 something away from a K?
49, I think, from a K now.
Yeah, so if you could, please go over, please subscribe, and go and show the boys some love as well. And obviously, you call Luke, where's Luke? And I think that's what you can wind him up about anyway. But again, let us know how you lot are anyway. Good evening, press. Xabi Alonso looks likely after what Ocop released. Of course, we will discuss all of the targets and so on, of course. And obviously, we're going to probably speak about potential sporting directors as well, because Doug, Liverpool, massive shake-up behind the scenes. Obviously, we know Jurgen Klopp's leaving. We know the backroom team is leaving as well. And obviously, we know that Jörg Schmachter is also leaving the football club at the end of the season as well. Obviously, yep. Billy Hogan did confirm that the club will be appointing a sporting director before a manager is appointed. Do you have anyone in mind, or do you think that Liverpool will be quick to make the decision, and then the full focus will be then on who is going to be the next Liverpool manager?
I mean, I think the main one really is obviously Tim Steedten. I think that's how you say it. Obviously, the one at West Ham. I've heard Max Eberl. I think he's been another one that's been heavily linked in the past as well. I think the likelier one is probably going to be that Tim Steedten. Obviously, the one that's obviously brought Alvarez, Ward-Prowse, Kudus as well. He's done a very good job at West Ham. He's done a very good job bringing those players in for very, very reasonable amounts of dosh there. So I think the logical one for me would obviously be Tim Steedten. But I am going to put in Max Eberl there because he has been heavily linked in the past with us. So maybe.
I think Max. I think he's gone to Bayern Munich, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's already got confirmed. I think Liverpool were interested. I think there was a clear number two. I think, to put it into the right context. Anyway, but Ricky. Sorry, Rick. Obviously, Michael Edwards was the talk of the town a couple of days ago. Obviously, you guys can read this if you'd like. Obviously, Liverpool going to Michael Edwards and obviously asking, please come back. We need you. But it's more or less it was a promotion in some sense. Again, I know people to go, oh, Michael Edwards was going to come back and so on. And obviously, we all loved it when he was Liverpool sporting director at the time. But as Doug said, Rick, do you foresee that Liverpool make a swift appointment and get it over and done with? Do you see Liverpool, obviously with an international break coming up in March, do you think that Liverpool will get it done then, or do you think it could even drag out until maybe the back end of the season or even the summer before we do get a sporting director in, or do you think that Liverpool will be swift with the decision?
Yeah, that Edwards thing's a load of nonsense, if you ask me. I think it was more tongue-in-cheek conversation about, congratulations on your new company. Would you come back at all? And obviously they got shut down quite quickly. There was no job offer and stuff like that. But I do think a director of football is the first thing that comes into Liverpool before the manager thing's sorted out, I think.
Yeah.
I think it probably will be the West Ham guy. He brought De Bruyne to Wolfsburg. Kudos to West Ham. All the Leverkusen boys he's got to there. He's probably the standout choice. Obviously, that Max Eberl's going to Bayern Munich. There's a load of names shouted out for Man United in a minute. Mitchell, Julian Ward, the Snake, and a few other names that are linked to them. But Dan Ashworth from Newcastle, because they're falling apart. Newcastle at the minute, I think. But yeah, I do think we get the West Ham guy, and I do think he comes in before any managers near enough through the door, because I think that's who you get into then sort out. To be fair, I don't think the sporting director would be sorting out our managerial appointment anyway. I think that would be left to FSG, Gordon, Billy Hogan, them people. But yeah, it's an interesting couple of few months. Like that, we've got a lot riding on the pitch. All 4 trophies were still in, so we could really do without the distraction. I don't care when it gets announced that who's coming in, as long as the players know who's coming in before anything, because then that puts into perspective what they want to do next season, and then we'll go from there, really.
Yeah, 100%. And I think obviously, like you mentioned, it is a big, last month's under Jurgen Klopp. We're still in 4 competitions. Let's go and win them all. I think that's the mentality I think all of us have at the minute. But also, it's like you said, Rick, it's people will want to know before the end of the season, because again, you've got transfers in the summer, contracts as well. I know that it's going to get spoken about at one point. Obviously, he came back today in training, but Thiago Alcantara's contract is up in the summer. Does that get renewed? In my opinion, no. But some people might say it might get renewed. But I think that there's a lot to do for the new manager, and as soon as you much would rather know before the end of the season that, okay, this is going to be the guy that comes in after Jurgen, and then straight away as the summer starts, obviously, it's not going to get everything's not going to be decided by the new manager, but you'd like Liverpool to get the job done anyway before the end of the season. Anyway, but we are going to move on and talk about the managers. We're going to take a quick look at the betting odds at the minute. Obviously, this is Sky Bet. With their current odds, of course, as you can see there, Xabi Alonso is currently the favourite to replace Jurgen Klopp, obviously followed up by Ruben Amorim, I believe, Roberto De Zerbi, Pep Linders, but we know Pep Linders won't be in the contention for the managerial job, and Postecoglou, bloody hell, that's easy enough for me to say, and Julian Nagelsmann as well. Obviously, you can see there Thomas Frank and Steven Gerrard. But what we're going to do, we're going to discuss the most unlikeliest of people, of course. Obviously, Xabi Alonso is the favourite, so that's the last manager that we're going to discuss in tonight's episode. But to kick off, we're going to discuss Ange Postecoglou. This means, but he can't say his name again. Postecoglou, obviously currently Spurs manager. Obviously left Celtic in the summer. Doug, for me, again, would be a highly unlikely signing if we was to get him in. Obviously, he is a huge Liverpool fan. He's happily admitted that, I think, in a few Spurs press conferences. But for me, it's very highly unlikely that Liverpool even Spurs entertain letting go of their manager to Liverpool anyway. But what's your thoughts on the link there between Ange and Liverpool?
I think the thing is he's always going to be linked, isn't he? I think the fact is that he is a Liverpool supporter, I think kind of goes along with that as well. But I think he's been a very good manager for, he was very good at Celtic. He did really, really well. So I think I know the Scottish League gets a lot of criticism, and obviously rightly so, because there's two teams obviously going for the same league. But he's done well in Japan. He's done well in Australia. as well. Hi, Tom. Happy birthday as well for yesterday. I think it's probably one that's probably not going to happen because, let's be honest, I don't think we're going to entertain anything that Daniel Levy says. I cannot trust that man with a barge pole. I wouldn't want to be negotiating with him for Ange anyway. But I think if he comes available maybe in the next sort of 5 to 10 years, then maybe potentially that could be another one. But at this stage, with him being at Tottenham, very, very unlikely for me.
100%. And Rick, I think for you, you're still fuming from that Spurs game when he was like, "Now the ref's decision's still what it is." But for me, he is. I think when obviously we know Liverpool managerial job's free now. Obviously, the City job will probably be free in the next 2 or 3 years if Pep doesn't sign. But where do you see Ange's career going from Spurs? You know, does Daniel Levy give him time to even compete at the top? Because obviously at the start of the season, Spurs fans were very optimistic that they were in a title charge, and obviously they did drop off massively. Let's not hide that fact. But what was your thoughts on Ange and the Liverpool link, really?
Well, we've had plenty of conversations in the Discord party. Why I don't want him. I can't be listening to that every weekend after it. I can't. I think he gets time at Spurs to build. He's obviously brought that young kid in from Sweden. So he's building for the future. I can't see him going anywhere anytime soon. I mean, bar Spurs, he managed for me in a part-time football league with Celtic. I mean, like they're out of all cup competitions because he thought he would play Morton at home and Strengthorn, teams like that. I mean, yeah, he come over here. He plays this ridiculous high line. Listen, we play high line as it is, but he'd have us standing at the edge of their 6-yard box and then trying to run back.
I remember that Spurs game at the Chelsea game, and that was horrendous.
Yeah, I mean, could you imagine us trying to play that with John Matip trying to run back at the halfway line? No, but he probably has got the tools to have a good career in English football. But he is at Spurs, and we all know what Spurs are like. They won the league in October or whatever it was, and now they're out of all competitions. So, yeah,
it's the Everton DVD where like Spurs fans are like, "Yeah, we've won."
Yeah, although I would take him over one other name that we're going to talk about.
I think I already know who you're going to mention anyway, but we will move on. Obviously, big up Owen, hopefully doing well. Mate saying, "Evening, folks. Great to see you all. Alonso was the best candidate, in my opinion, but I wouldn't mind Ange too much as well." Owen does also go on to say, Ange has done so well with the key injury, suspensions, and international duty.
Just who we are, mate. I can't be. Nah. Not every week.
Are they like 3 points behind Arsenal?
Yes. Which is Arsenal's goal difference better than Spurs? Does anyone know?
Let's have a look.
I know Arsenal got an inferior goal difference between City and Liverpool. I know that.
Yeah, they've got 9 better goal difference, Arsenal, but they're 3 points in front of Spurs. We've got 9 goals better.
So by the weekend, it could very well be Spurs are level on points with Arsenal. Come the end of the weekend. So yeah, to be fair, and just done very, very good considering Arsenal are meant to be in a title race. That's actually quite good going, to be fair. As well, and football said, "Who is your favourite Man United player?" Don't have one. Personally, mate,
Kobe Maino, the new Clarence Seedorf I've seen on social media.
Oh, don't start, lads!
Don't start me on that.
I've seen people saying as well, like, this United team, if they can get themselves together, could challenge for the Champions League. It's like, shut up.
It was 7 Ten Hag in charge.
Not in contention, lads. Like, let's be perfectly honest here. Anyway, but we will move on from Ange, and we will discuss, for me, the fourth favourite for the job is Julian Nagelsmann. Now, of course, Nagelsmann is currently the German boss, was at Bayern Munich. Of course, we all know what happened there with the leaks and the disagreements behind the scenes at Bayern Munich, which, I think for Liverpool, that wouldn't be too good. But Rick, obviously, he is currently the German manager. Like I said, he is, I think, out of contract after the Euros at Germany. Of course, I think maybe 2 years ago, I think when we were speaking about this, like who could potentially replace Jurgen Klopp in the future, I think Nagelsmann was definitely a name up there, for sure. But I think over the last two years, especially with the departure of him, leaving Bayern and then the aftermath of it, for me, it's left a little bit of a sour taste and a little bit of one of like, I wouldn't want that at Liverpool personally. But what's your thoughts on Julian Nagelsmann as a coach and just in general as a manager?
Yeah, like for me, he's the fourth one on my list. I had him. I like him as a manager. I think he was treated harshly at Bayern Munich, but the reasons why they let him go are valid reasons. We won't go into that, but he ain't really kicked on at the German job. I do think that German team's a bit hit and miss. It's very young. Then you've got the older players that are trying to come back into it. But his contract's up in the summer after the Euros. Nagelsmann, I think he leaves after that because there will be club jobs available in the summer for him, whether that be in the Premier League, Spain, Italy, even Germany. I like him as a coach. Very young. He's got that Klopp type of mentality, football-wise, tactic that they play. But yeah, fourth choice for me, not by much, but I think the three in front of him, I'd like a bit more.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think though as well, Doug, it's like we talk about experience when it comes to Nagelsmann. Obviously got through the Red Bull system, managed at Leipzig, got to Bayern Munich. Obviously, I think Bayern paid a world record fee, I think, for Nagelsmann, if my memory serves me correctly.
I think it did, yeah.
Yeah, but it's, as Ricky said, obviously, I think everyone expects him to leave the German job after the Euros. I remember, I think it was Florian Plintenberg mentioned the only way people can see him staying is if he won the Euros for Germany, which, looking at that German squad, it's not very winnable, I would say, in terms of European competition. But obviously, he did get linked with the Spurs job, got linked with the Chelsea job in the summer as well. Do you think there is something there potentially between Nagelsmann and could you foresee, and what would you like him as Liverpool manager? Because he fits the style a little bit, but as Ricky said, me as well, it's not the right fit for me personally.
Yeah, he did well at Leipzig. I think I agree with what Ricky said. I think he was harshly treated at Bayern Munich. I think he had the highest win percentage of any Bayern Munich manager, which is staggering to say the very, very least. Unfortunately, I agree with what you've just said about the Germany squad. I don't think the Germany squad is anywhere near the Germany squad we've known it to be. And this might come back to bite me, but I am very, very happy that Scotland have got them first in the Euros, because I honestly think we could potentially get something from them. I don't think this Germany squad is anywhere near what they once were, and I think there's aging players in that squad. But Nagelsmann, no, not for me. I don't think he'd be the right fit. And especially with the leaks that happened when he was sacked as Bayern Munich manager, no, not for me.
I think it was just the sour taste though as well. Like, obviously, don't know the full story at Bayern Munich, but it very much feels like it definitely left a bad taste around Nagelsmann, and like considering the fact that I think the obviously the Leroy Sané and Sadio Mane story that got leaked, and obviously that was a big dressing room bust up. Obviously we don't hear much obviously currently with Jurgen Klopp, and obviously the players, if anything does ever happen, which I don't think it does personally, but it goes to show that if there's a massive inexperience there, I think, with Nagelsmann. And I think he may need, and I know that we spoke about Leipzig and Bayern, I think he may need a smaller club to build on. Like, again, Dortmund might be a big shout for the future potentially, but I just think that he needs a mid-table team to rebuild himself as well, because I don't think he's ready for a Real Madrid or Liverpool or Barcelona in that sense.
I actually think he would do well at like a Borussia Mönchengladbach in the Bundesliga, or maybe like a Real Sociedad or something along those lines. But yeah, I agree with you. I don't think he's quite ready to manage a big club. Like Liverpool, and I don't think as well. Like obviously he's obviously had the links with obviously Chelsea. He's obviously had the links with Tottenham, but I think kind of in the sort of the middle between like Mönchengladbach and probably Sociedad would probably be his best bet. I think for a club job, maybe even if Pioli leaves AC Milan, he might potentially go there. You just don't know, but I agree with what you've said, and the fact is I don't think he's quite ready for the big jobs yet.
Yeah, 100%. Agree with you on that, Doug, as well. We will move on to the third manager, in my opinion. Anyway, it might be a few people's number ones. Might not be, as well as you can see Ricky smirking and grinning because he knows who's going to be coming up next. Anyway, but we are talking about the Brighton manager, of course, Roberto De Zerbi. Now, look, not the best lately, and I think a lot of people have gone recency biased, I think, personally, with De Zerbi. And look, the style of play that he does play is attractive, and it is attractive, but results matter. And 3 wins in the last 13, I think it is, for Brighton. I could be wrong. I think it might be a bit more than that. But Rick, I know you want to get your mind off De Zerbi, but he is the first or second choice in many people's eyes. I know that I've seen a couple of people say he's their first. I've seen a lot of people saying he's their second. For me, he's third on the list personally. But what's your making around Roberto De Zerbi to Liverpool if it was to happen?
I'd be quite worried. I mean, 3-14, I think he is what the stat is. Can't keep the same 11 players in a game. He too switchy for me. Pep raves about him for some reason. I mean, man took Graham Potter's team and done nothing with it.
I wouldn't say that. I'd say he got Europe, to be fair to him.
Yeah, I mean, I could have got Europe with Graham Potter's Brighton team. It was that good. It was that good. They had Casado, McAllister.
I know you play a lot of Footy Manager, Rick, but
listen. Potter had that Brighton team firing. He played great football there. That's why he got the move to Chelsea. De Zerbi coming. All right, he lost his 2 best midfielders in the same summer. I see him take a dig today at the board, saying that he said he needed 2 midfielders and the board said no. But yeah, and I mean, I want him as far away as possible from this Liverpool job, De Zerbi. Let him go Man City, which is all the talk at the minute. He could potentially be Pep's replacement. Pep loves him and whatnot. That's fine by me. Let him go to City because, I don't think he's what we need in the slightest.
I think there's a lot of people 12 months ago was calling for De Zerbi to be Liverpool manager, the way he was playing, well, the way Brighton were playing. But I think you are right, Rick. I think De Zerbi does scream Manchester City manager or future manager. And Doug, I don't know if you would agree with that. I will get to everyone's comments as well in the chat, because obviously there's a few good comments there as Doug has disappeared. But Doug, would you agree that De Zerbi isn't the right man for Liverpool, considering, again, as many people in the comments have mentioned, 3 wins in his last 18 as Brighton manager? What's your thoughts on De Zerbi as manager? And could you see him going to Manchester City or Liverpool in the future?
Well, first things first, I don't think Roberto De Zerbi is a bad manager overnight. The job he's done at Brighton since he's come in, getting them Europa League last season was absolutely fantastic. I think that, he was a breath of fresh air when he came into this league. I think we're kind of now seeing what happens when you mix the two, Europe and Premier League. And I don't think Brighton are as good as they were last season. I think away from home they've been absolutely shocking. I mean, the amount of goals I think they conceded 6 at Aston Villa. They conceded 4 against Luton, which is unheard of. You have to say as well. I think it'd be too early for them, if I'm being honest. Being brutally honest, I think it's way too early for him. I know he's managed Shakhtar. I know he's managed Sassuolo. I think it's Sassuolo in Italy as well. Yeah. Obviously, he's now at Brighton. This does scream vibes of Manchester City. It does scream vibes of Manchester City. And look, he is a good manager, De Zerbi. There's no denying that. But he tinkers with his team way too much. He's like basically the Italian version of Claudio Ranieri when he used to tinker with his side at Leicester. Seems to be doing that a lot at Brighton. I think I would get so annoyed with the amount of tinkering if he did that at Liverpool. So, no, I think for the time being, Roberto De Zerbi, just stay at Brighton, wait until another job comes up. In my opinion, I think potentially he could be another target for like an AC or an Inter Milan. I really do.
I think that as well. I think as you said, but they Doug, in terms of selection and Rick as well, it does awfully remind me of Pep Guardiola. When I think for Liverpool, I think comfortably, if you said right, everyone's fit, pick a defense. I think it's more or less set in stone of what Liverpool's best 11 is. I think with De Zerbi, it's very much the sense of it's up to and again, it's up to the match day, but that could be, it works in favor sometimes, obviously the adaptability of his managerial style. But I do also think that it is a weakness there, because I didn't realize that Evan Ferguson, even though a lot of Brighton fans have been shouting his praises, and a lot of Premier League pundits as well have also been praising him since last season, he hasn't really been, playing this season. It's been, Pedro Porro been playing, and Pedro Porro, what am I on about? What's the Brazilian striker's name?
João Pedro.
Yeah, João Pedro. Thank you, Doug. He's been starting a lot for Brighton up front, and again, obviously they've relied massively on James Milner this season, which has been kind of fun looking at Brighton. But it is a massive. It's a positive, but it's also a negative as well at the same time, that he doesn't know his best 11, and I think the system as well. I think that obviously we're going to talk about obviously 2 more managers to come up, and they've got systems and they have worked them quite well. But Zerbi, it's always changing. It's never a set in stone system for him or Brighton. And again, that's obviously it works well sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't. Like you look at that Luton game, Brighton were awful. And it's probably the worst performance I've seen a team play against Luton as well when I've watched the highlights back. So again, obviously get your comments in, guys, anyway, on the De Zerbi shout as well, because I've seen people saying he is their number 1 choice. For me, he would be number 3 on the list. For Liverpool, he doesn't have the player career to command respect, and he has badly messed up the only big jobs he's had. I think that's I went back on when we were speaking about Nagelsmann. How about Nagelsmann to Leverkusen as Alonso replacement? We will get on to that in a moment. Zerbi, no way, 3 wins since the 30th of September, which again is ridiculous on that form as well. I hear a rumour Jack is going to come for the job, but he found out it's longer than 5 hours a day. Bloody hell. Hello. Hello, Luke. As well. Zerbi won 3 in the last 18 for Brighton. Yeah, not a good look. Alonso all day long for the job. Again, we will get on to that in a minute. He got Europe with Potter's team corner. True, it is true. As Ricky said, again, he did ask for 2 midfielders, which I'm actually quite curious to know who he wanted, considering the fact that Brighton they've had 100 million or over 100 million for Moises Caicedo, and they had 35 for Maka. They've got money to spend. I think that's quite obvious there, but again, obviously Brighton do work under a model. But again, we'll have to have a look in the summer, won't we? But waiting for Rick to say with Brighton's midfield, I've seen better midfielders over the local park. He hasn't said it quite yet. I think that'll be one for a future video. Man City potentially might go for Arteta.
No,
Barcelona.
can't see that. I think the only place he ends up is Barcelona. Arteta.
A little bit off topic. I want to get both of your thoughts on this. If Arteta doesn't win anything in the next 2 years, does he get sacked? If he spends big as well?
Yes.
I think he should get sacked at the end of the season if you don't finish top 3.
Mm-hmm.
The money he spent and all the Billy Big talk they give. Arsenal
Billy
this.
Big talk.
Arsenal this.
I would agree with that, by the way.
Saka, Martinelli, Jesus, Arteta. For me, if I'm the Arsenal board, I'm looking at it and thinking maybe they see it that they might see his Klopp's going. Pep ain't got long at City left. Arteta might be able to win something when them 2 go. But yeah, for me at the minute, Arteta's been a little bit of a flop, in my opinion.
I don't think he does. Do you know what? I genuinely don't think he does. I don't think he's a Premier League winning manager. I definitely don't believe that. What is a Spanish PE teacher?
I think the other thing you've got to say with Arteta, he's given himself this goalkeeping situation where he's literally tinkering between Aaron Ramsdale and David Raya. With the greatest of respect, both are not as good goalkeepers as they once were. David Raya has completely gone downhill since he was at Brentford, and now he's obviously at Arsenal. Ramsdale is so annoying. He's like a Sheffield version of Jordan Pickford. Like you'll make a save and then you'll celebrate. It's honestly, I don't know why Arteta has got him in this position of basically having 2 number 1 goalkeepers. That's never going to work.
For me, Arteta is a cone placer / bib passer that he was at Man City. That's all he did was give the bibs out and place the cones out, and all of a sudden he thinks he's one of the best managers in world football. I mean, for what?
I think though as well, I don't know exactly how much Arteta's spent since he's been at Arsenal. I think it's around 600 million. Is it 250?
No, this season I think.
I mean overall.
Yeah.
It's about 600.
I would say about 675 million. I think.
Like that for me. Like again, and people go, "Oh, he's going against Liverpool and City." Liverpool had a meltdown last year, and I've mentioned this on loads of videos. Liverpool had a meltdown 12 months ago, and rebuilt, and that's all we heard from Arsenal. We had Arsenal fans, and again, the preview will be tomorrow as well for the Arsenal game. But we had Arsenal fans printing out T-shirts on Christmas Day last year, going, "We're going to win the league," and they should have won the league, but they didn't. They absolutely bottled it, and so far this season. That's all you've heard from Arsenal fans away from, the Premier League. We're not playing as good, but we're still in contention. and then this player gets over this person, Raya gets over Allison, this, that, and the other. Like, come on, be serious, please. Like, it's a joke. Like, again, even when if you're going to do a combined 11, which to be fair, I hate combined 11s, but like, there's only maybe one Arsenal player gets in Liverpool's team, and that's probably Declan Rice as a 6. But then even that Mac has been really, really good this season. But
and all these people hyping up Saliba, Konate has been levels above him this season.
Can I just say one thing about Saliba? 35%. That's what I'm going to say. 35%. Go look it up. 35%.
Aerial duels?
That's it. 35% aerial duels he's won this season. But he's better and bigger and badder than Big Verge. Fucking hell. Sorry. I mean,
you can sway at the end of the day.
Apparently he's better than Konate as well.
Mate, Saliba can't lace up Nat Phillips's boots, let alone compare him to Van Dijk and Konate. Get in the bin.
Yeah, 100%. We'll quickly move on as well. But yeah, if any Arsenal fans are watching, your manager's shite. But better managers in the Premier League than Zerbi, Klopp, Pep, Arteta, and Emery, Poch. Oh, I wouldn't say Poch at the minute.
Poch is a good manager. He's been screwed over at Chelsea by the dictator
owners.
In the keys of the feces me on Football Manager, Todd Bowley. That's how I act. What he's doing on Chelsea. That is me on Football Manager. Ask anyone. That is me. I just want to spend money on Football Manager, buy all the players, and then get sacked.
Ricky is practically Accrington Stanley and signs a free Messi for 250k a week.
With 500 mil budget.
Potter created the team. Zerbi just put the cones out. Yeah, sure. Many talks. Doug as well. Obviously, that's concerning Mikel Arteta with Arsenal. Not Arsenal, sorry, Man City. Arteta goes Man City, and the picture memes will be.
Oh, hilarious. Yes.
Basmati Rice in the midfield alongside that 30-year-old midfielder from Barnet, King Kai, and others. Spent nearly 250 mil and struggle. Arsenal forever learning. Yeah, 100% look on that. Arteta built a good side, but can't beat a flop. They had Luis, Monreal, Socrates, Guendouzi, Aubameyang, Lacazette, and co, and built an all-right team.
I could build an all-right team for 675 mil. It's not that hard.
I would agree. Again, though, when we talk about, going a little bit off topic, but when we talk about no top-class manager creates the problem at goalkeeper. Like, again, I don't care how you think about Ramsdale, Raya, whichever one's better. Again, people have their own opinions. But I personally do not get why you'd sign a number one goalkeeper, does all right throughout the season, again, made a few mistakes towards the end, and then go and sign a number one goalkeeper and cause that rivalry. Because you watch Ramsdale on the bench, he's loving every minute that Raya makes a mistake. And then that creates headlines and gossip. So I don't get why you do it. Like, Klopp would never do it. Pep would never do it. Mourinho, I don't think ever did it. But apart from probably the season where Courtois come back and it was Petr Cech and it was a bit of meh. But even still, I think that was sorted out at the time. Like, I don't get why you do it. I don't get why you'd make the mistake of creating that drama in your team, considering you're meant to be a title rival as well, personally. But again, that's not your guys' thoughts.
There's a reason why Man City would let Jesus and Zinchenko go to Arsenal. They're not a threat.
No. I think I said at one point Zinchenko was player of the season for Arsenal last year. I'm glad I took that back now. Difference is Jordan Pickford is a good goalkeeper. Captain Charisma for Arsenal is Ramsdale, 100%. I think Arteta must have done more than hang cones out. I don't know about that. One FA Cup in 4 years, fair play Arteta. Wasn't his team, was Unai Emery's team. Konate's a beast, awesome defender, 100%. Don't rate Poch for Chelsea. He got Spurs to a bloody Champions League final. He's a good coach. I'd say at the minute, though, he is failing. Like, he's playing players out of position. I don't get that, Chelsea, personally. But Adventure says, I think an ideal world, you can get a great spine, keep that and build around it. I don't think you can mess about buying keepers who are not too class. We had that issue for a long time. Yeah, and Klopp sorted it out. That's the obviously it's nice to have an Alisson Becker coming around, like, but anyway,
Yeah,
but we
rather
will
than
move on.
Andre Onana.
Yeah, exactly. But we will move on. We will discuss the second favourite manager for the Liverpool job. Of course, Sporting Lisbon's Ruben Amorim. I'm going to say that again, probably again. I apologise if I butcher his last name. Of course, there are rumours currently going on suggesting he will leave Sporting at the end of the season. That's coming out of Portugal. Anyway, of course, obviously the Liverpool job available, Barcelona's job available as well. I think they're currently top of Liga Portugal as well as things stand, I believe as well. But Doug, I don't think many people would have seen the style he plays. Of course, obviously, key players going in the summer in terms of, again, Manuel Ugarte. Obviously, I think Paulinho as well. I think he was in while Paulinho was in as well, and a few other bits and pieces at Sporting. But what's your thoughts on Ruben getting linked to Liverpool? Because I think it's very much an interesting one, because of course he's been linked with Manchester United. I think he even got linked with Chelsea as well before Pochettino came in. But what's your thoughts on him potentially becoming the next Liverpool manager?
I'm a big fan of his. I think he's a really good manager, and I think the fact is as well that he's actually done a really good job there at Sporting. I think there is a saying you can sort of outlast your welcome or outstay your welcome. I think the case with Amorim, it's probably been like one of his first sort of jobs, being Sporting. He's managed to get if you win your league that has Porto and Benfica in it, then you've done a very, very good job, and obviously Sporting have done that. I haven't seen the system that he plays in, but we've obviously seen in sort of the Champions League what he can do. We've seen what he can do in obviously Europe, and we've obviously seen what he can do in the Portuguese league. So I think he'd probably be my number 2 choice to take over Liverpool. I'm a big fan of his, I've got to say. I think it would be very, very interesting, to say the very least. Whether he comes is another matter, but for me, he would definitely be in my top 5 to take over from Klopp.
Yeah, 100%. But you go on about system. I think that looking at his system, he plays a 3-4-3. Can adapt. I think I think his secondary is a 4-2-3-1. For Sporting, obviously he's got the best out of Ugarte last season. Obviously, defense-wise, we've looked at the likes of Gonzalo Inacio. Of course, playing this new hybrid system that we play. I believe as well he's also got the best out of the Swedish striker that was at Coventry, I think, last season. I think he's
Yorkeres. Yorkeres.
Currently amazing for Sporting at the minute. I think I'm quickly going to double check. Yeah, he's got 15 goals and 8 assists. Again, Liga Portugal, which, again, taking to your own mind, but they do have top quality players. But again, considering the fact that I think now Chelsea is snooping around him for, I think, 100 million euros, which is his release clause, to be fair. But Rick, obviously, Sporting, I think Footy Manager definitely works in for this as well. But what do you make of it? Because again, not many people, I can see people in the chat saying they're not familiar with his work. I think unless you watch the League of Portugal, again, you won't be. But obviously the Champions League and so on. But it does very much feel like for him, it's time for the next step. I think there's obviously plenty of reports in Portugal saying that it will be, him going in the summer. But do you think that he's Liverpool ready, or do you think that he should look a bit lower down and then look up at a potential Liverpool job?
No, I mean he's my second choice to take over. But something interesting did come out today with him. He is leaving Sporting at the end of the season, but he's told his entourage / manager and agency not to talk to anyone till the summer that don't work for Liverpool.
No.
Liverpool will want to talk to people now and wrap it up before the summer. So he might have shot himself on the foot a little bit with that. But he's a very good young manager who's very good with young players, which suit us. With the academy players that we've got coming through, with the young players we've got, so Bosley, Gravenberg, McAllister, they're all 23. Nunes, and a few of the other boys that we've got at of a young age. He plays a very attacking style. He plays a 3-4, plays for a 3-back, which the same sort of as Alonso, really. But yeah, second favourite for me. But I do see him going Barcelona, if I'm not wrong. I think that's where he ends up in the summer for me.
I would agree. I think he ends up going to Barca. I think there's two. We haven't really we haven't mentioned him there, and the bookies haven't got him in there neither. Hansi Flick is obviously another one that's running around. I think it's between them two for the Barca job, personally. I think Amorim and of course we'll talk about Xabi Alonso because he is quite clearly the number one for Liverpool. But just talking about him for a moment, again, like you said, Rick, good with young players. Fits that Barcelona mold, realistically. I think that the big problem for Barca on that side of things is, of course, financial problems at the minute. I believe they're going to get rid of Lewandowski in the summer, Barca, to fund other things, which, again, I don't know how realistic the conversation is around Lewandowski's contract at Barcelona, but I think it is between them two at the Barca job. And then, does that leave the door open for a certain Spaniard to come to Liverpool? Anyway, but before we do speak about Xabi Alonso, I'm going to quickly get back into the comments. Again, let me know your guys' thoughts as well in the comments. I think it's an ideal world. You get a great... Oh, we already read that one out. Apologies, Venture. I haven't seen enough of Amorim as well, says Press. Hi, guys. Good evening, Luke. Hope you're doing well, mate. Yeah, obviously, I'm not going to pronounce his name, otherwise I will completely butcher it. 3-4-3 Sporting play. Yes, they do. Trim cap and Marcus Edward up top as well. Obviously, Trincao has been very good, I think, for Sporting this season so far. I just looked; they are just 1 point ahead in Liga Portugal as well, which, to be fair, considering that I think the budget between the both teams. Because again, I think Sporting are getting bought by Todd Bowley, if I'm correct in saying that, which again, they'll completely change the aspect of things again, because, well, look at Strasbourg. I think, is it Patrick Vieira is manager of Strasbourg at the minute, which again, but Chelsea B team realistically. Sebastian Cortez is currently the centre back for him. Of course, they do have, I forgot his name, the Ivory Coast centre half, which he looks an absolute talent. Yeah, he looks an absolute talent as well. But Alonso has rejuvenated Tar. Amorim has done the same with Cortez as well. Again, great by both managers in that sense. Would you take Thomas Frank? Nope. Personally, no. I like him, but personally, I wouldn't. I'm not sure about Frank. If the club are looking for a younger manager with energy, I guess we will sign someone in the late 30s or 40s. Yeah, 100% a venture on that as well. But we will move on and we will discuss, I think, the number one, I think, on the majority of Liverpool fans' list. And that is, of course, Xabi Alonso. Done an absolute amazing job at Bayern Leverkusen. Obviously, he's only been there for 18 months, but the job that he has done since taking over the club back last season, of course, I think they were in the relegation zone when he joined the club, completely changed things around. I think last season they got to the semis of the Europa League, what was it, the Europa League or Conference League? I think it was the Europa League. And since then, they've been brilliant. Obviously, taking it to Bayern Munich this season. I hope they go on to win the Bundesliga as well. But Doug, for me, he is the number one guy for Liverpool. Obviously, former Red as well. But I think if you listen to any manager the likes of Pep Guardiola, Carlo Ancelotti, Jose Mourinho, they've all said it, that Xabi Alonso will be the next best manager in football. It's a huge target to put on his back, I think. But for me, he is the right man. For you as well, do you believe that Xabi Alonso will be the next Liverpool manager?
100%. 100%. I think we speak about, obviously, yes, about obviously being inexperienced as well, but he has obviously managed Real Madrid B. I think people sort of forget that. And as well, the job he's done since going into Leverkusen, and yes, when he took over Leverkusen, they were in the relegation zone. So that the job that he's done has been absolutely magnificent. They're top of the Bundesliga. I think they've not lost a game yet. Like they're unbeaten. They're still in all the competitions. They're in the Europa League as well. I just think if he was to win the league with Bayer Leverkusen, it just already sort of makes him as a very, very good manager. And I don't think Leverkusen will stand in his way. If he wants to go, then I think there's only 3 clubs that you could probably say Alonso goes to: Liverpool, Bayern Munich, and Real Madrid. And actually, I think those are the 3 that he will go to. But yeah, knows the club inside out. And yeah, doesn't matter if he's inexperienced. The club will give him time. The fans will get on board with him. He is undoubtedly my number 1 choice for the next Liverpool manager, and I'm pretty sure he'd probably be in the majority as well.
Yeah, 100%. I think one of the most impressive things, I think, is adaptability. I think when you look at his career so far as a manager, obviously, Real Sociedad's B team got a lot of praise. I think looking at articles and looking at certain pieces on it, obviously played a 4-2-3-1 dash 4-3-3 in Spain. Obviously, when he first came to Bayern Leverkusen, played a 4-2-3-1 last season. This season has adapted to a 3-4-3 style, kind of a 5-back as well at times. But Rick, for you, and I think for me and Doug, he is number 1 on the list. I want him as Liverpool's next manager. And I think what we've seen so far at Leverkusen, it's just the start. I think he can go to a next level as well. Obviously, it is a huge step for someone who is basically 3-4 years into a managerial career. But as Doug said, he knows the club inside out. But what's your thoughts on Xabi Alonso? Is he the man for you?
Yeah, he's clear favourite for me. I think we get him. Leverkusen have come out and said that he can go to one. If one of his former team come in for him, I don't think he chooses. I think Tuchel gets sacked from Bayern Munich this season as well. And I think Bayern will push for Alonso, but I don't think he'll choose them over us. Obviously, Ancelotti's just signed a new 2-year deal. Did Madrid know something a little bit with Alonso in terms of wanting to come to us first? I do think he ends up at Real Madrid. There's no denying that. But hopefully we can get Alonso in there 5, 6, 7 years down the line. I think the football he plays at the minute is very exciting, which will suit us because, listen, whoever comes into Liverpool Football Club has got it already set for him. I mean, this team's unbelievable. Klopp has left us in a great state. We've got some. It's going to be very interesting with the owners to see how they move on with the next manager because Klopp was performing miracles for a little while, and the budgets were quite stingy for him. So it's going to be interesting. We've got cash. Liverpool Football Club, we've got cash. So whoever comes in is in a healthy state. Some great players, some great young players coming through as well. Need to keep an eye on Van Dijk and your Trents and the Allisons in terms of the contracts and that side of things. But I think that'll all come together once they find out who's coming in. I do get where people say, it's a bit sentimental with Alonso coming in. What has he really done? You name me some managers out there who are top level who are available. Ancelotti's not available. Mourinho's finished at top level. Pep's not leaving City to come to Liverpool.
I think it's more about taking a calculated gamble. I think with Alonso, because Alonso is the best up there in terms of what he could potentially do.
He's played under Ancelotti, Benitez, Jose Mourinho, Pep Guardiola. He's played under 4 of the best managers that football's seen in terms of styles, trophies. Like Pep, best tactical manager out of everyone. Benitez is probably the best defensive-minded manager out of them. Jose, great tactical mastermind. We've seen it in the past. And Ancelotti is just like the GOAT of football. So to learn off of all of them, what kind of manager is he going to be if he's got all of that knowledge under his barnet? Do you know what I mean?
And I think people forget as well, his dad was a manager as well. I think that's a massive factor in for it as well. I think, though, he definitely, as I said, I think it's a calculated risk from Liverpool. Again, I don't think anyone would be thinking, oh, look, straight away, it has to work. Like Liverpool, if we do go on to win the league this season, I don't think anyone in their right mind from next season onwards could go, first year has to be back-to-back league titles for Liverpool. No, like it's going to be probably a difficult year for the first year, and then you'll start to see the development side of it. I think you as Rick alluded to earlier on, you see the football that Bayern Leverkusen are playing at the minute. It's so brilliant to watch. I think like just this past weekend, watched them. I think they drew, but it was such a dominating game. It reminded me of Liverpool, like Liverpool Man United, just completely battered the opposition. And again, if Alonso can learn, if he can come to the Premier League, again, the whole thing then will be, if he doesn't start doing well, of course, you'll get the idiotic media going, oh, did Liverpool pick right, this, that, and the other? No, I think as Ricky and Doug alluded to, every Liverpool supporter will give him time. And if people don't give him time, then, again, I don't know what can help you realistically. But for me, he is the best candidate out there. He's the best fit, knows the club inside out. Stylistic-wise, again, we know Alonso adapts to the team he's given. And as Ricky mentioned, what a team he's got coming into. Again, again, we'll talk about contracts, and obviously Salah, Van Dijk, Alisson, Trent. Again, if he was to come in, I'd be very excited to see what he does with Trent. Does he move him into midfield? Does he keep him at right back? Who knows? But I think when we speak about right backs as well, obviously Jeremy Frimpong, what he's done with him at Leverkusen's been brilliant. And we speak about right backs, Conor Bradley. I think Conor Bradley under Xabi Alonso would be amazing. Just comparing what Alonso's done with Frimpong and Grimaldo, for example. Like again, Grimaldo was not barely spoken about in Europe as a left back, and this season he's been nothing but brilliant for Bayern Leverkusen this season anyway. But get your comments in anyway, guys. But for me, and I think for the rest of the lads as well, Xabi Alonso is the number one for Liverpool, without a doubt. Anyway, but what a jawline, says Press for Alonso. A stylish manager. Diamonde as well. Yeah, thank you, Venture as well. Currently away with African, I think. Yeah, he is. Thiago will play under Alonso, so let's be honest. I don't think he does, personally. He's out of contract in the summer. I don't think Liverpool will renew, if I'm being perfectly honest, Press. Why do people think Alonso is the right man? Sentimental aside, why would he be a good fit in terms of the football side, and what could he do for Liverpool to keep us going in the direction? Doug or Rick, do you want to take this question? Or none of you answered then. I was a bit confused. Go on, Rick.
Yeah, I just think just the style of football he plays is a little bit different tactic-wise from what we play. But he's got young players there. Wirtz, Nkappi at centre-half, Frimpong at right-back. He's got experience in Tar like Van Dijk. They're both that sort of age. But yeah, I mean, I get this people worried about the sentimental side, but no, I just think he's a very good tactical manager, and he's got some good players to come into, and or just take him up a next level, and hopefully he can continue us winning trophies. I mean, because listen, I don't get why Klopp wants to leave this Liverpool team. I mean, this team could dominate the next couple of seasons. So it's whoever comes into living life, I think.
Yeah, 100%. It is a shame that Jurgen has gone. Look, it is time for me to go. Not ball job, is it? No. Do you know what though? I was thinking about it, and this time last week, I was thinking, and I was like, why? Like, why now? Like, you've got Liverpool 2.0. Everything that Jurgen said in the summer about being refreshed and excited for the future, and then the season's gone as it has done. Like, when the video first came out, I thought it was a contract extension. I've said that. I fully thought it was a contract extension. And then when he went a bit depressing, I was like, oh, crap. Like, what are you going to say about you now? And then, yeah, we know then the history of it. But yeah, I think for me it is Xabi Alonso. I think that the big worry then for Liverpool is if Xabi Alonso says no to Liverpool. Again, we've spoken about Amorim there, but if Amorim goes to Barcelona, it's then who's next? Like,
it's just what it is, mate. That's what it'll be.
Yeah, I don't even think about that, but I do think Xabi Alonso will be the Liverpool manager anyway. But we are going to leave it there for tonight, guys. Big thank you for everyone. We haven't gone for an hour, so thank you very much for everyone tuning in. Of course, like I did mention, if you're new around here, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button as well. Obviously, big thank you to Ricky and to Doug as well. Rick, before we do head off, do you want to plug 1892, or do you want to plug something else?
Yeah. 1892 Res TV. We're on the road to 1,000. I think we're 49 away from it. We're live Sunday 3:30 before the game. The team news, the 11 that are started, and yeah, road to 1,000. But yeah, thanks for having me on.
Absolute pleasure, man. And Doug, before we do it off, got anything you want to say or plug, or just go away?
Well, I'm sort of sporadically getting back into YouTube. As obviously being a father, you don't really get as much time to do as much content as you used to. But I'm sort of getting sporadically back into it, and yeah, Doug Gray Football Channel on YouTube.
Absolute pleasure, mate. And yeah, guys, obviously we'll be live tomorrow, probably at 9 for Arsenal preview. Of course, if we beat them, I think it's then definitely between us and City. If we lose, I don't want to think about that, but it then opens up a whole kind of worms in that sense anyway. But look, let's beat everyone. Let's go and win this league title and send Jurgen off in style anyway. But if you're new around here, like I said, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button anyway, and all that good stuff. But yeah, I've been Connor from the Cook Council. See you guys tomorrow. Ta-ra.